Hello, and thank you for watching this November 7th weather update, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I am a senior atmospheric scientist and co-founder of Agrible. While fall 2016 has been very warm, this map shows the temperature anomalies, which are differences from normal, over the last 30 days. And for some of the Corn Belt, well, for that matter, almost all of the United States, has been at least 3 degrees warmer than average for the entire period. In fact, some places have been nearly 10 degrees warmer than average. Well, first and foremost, these data should be viewed very carefully, as many are waiting to apply nitrogen this fall. Soil temperatures are far too warm, and many are asking, when can we expect some cooler weather? To answer that question is that cooler air is coming, but not for a while for the Midwest and especially the Great Plains. Meteorologists monitor the thickness of the atmosphere as an indicator on temperature trends and pattern changes in the flow of the jet stream. This map shows the 21-member ensemble forecast from the GFS model run on Sunday, November 6th. Ridges can be seen here and indicate where warmer than normal conditions reside, and troughs can be seen here where cooler than average weather can be found. Watch the animation through the next couple of weeks. As we watch this animation, two things emerge that are important for us to pay attention to. First, the main ridge that's in the jet stream migrates slightly to the west with time. And secondly, a trough digs into the northeastern part of the United States. Well, in the short term, this pattern keeps the central states warm while the northeast gets a cool down. But as we continue with the animation, notice how with time the overall pattern shifts somewhat so that a broad trough enters into the eastern half of the United States. This shift will return temperatures much closer to normal and potentially below average at times for the second half of the month of November on this side of the country. However, I have several reasons to think that this is not going to be a permanent shift toward colder temperatures for this year. Well, here's the first issue. This map shows you the temperature anomalies over the next 5 days. And the look of this map is exactly how things have been for several weeks now. Essentially, the source region for cold air in the United States, which is the Canadian prairies, well, it's not that cold yet. The lack of this cold air prevents a big pattern shift in the jet stream. So where is all that cold air? Well, the map clearly shows how northern Eurasia, especially Russia, is significantly colder than normal. Snowpack there in Siberia is well above average, and that is an important point to make as we look toward our winter forecast. That cold air can redirect the position of the jet stream, and there is some evidence that it will contribute to a very active winter storm track for the eastern half of the United States. We'll have more on this in later video updates, though. Well, the final thing to discuss with respect to this forecast is the fact that the sea ice in the Arctic is at a record low concentration for the month of October. Now, satellite measurements of sea ice extent go back to 1979, but the small area of sea ice this fall contributes to the disrupted flow pattern in the jet stream and is another reason why the Arctic is so warm right now. So to recap, even though there is a pattern shift coming in about 10 days that will cool down the eastern third of the country, the cooler air that comes in is not widespread and the Great Plains will remain warm as we head into December. Well, in terms of precipitation, rain does spread north through Texas and Oklahoma and it points a little farther north early on this week. But the overall pattern looks dry again for most of the Corn Belt. This map shows the accumulation of rain through next Sunday. But remember, October and November are traditionally drier months for most of the Corn Belt. Some of the problems this may cause, with the winter wheat crop being just planted, is that there may not be enough precipitation coming in early to help with early germination before winter settles in. But overall, this pattern is dry for the end of harvest here, which will help some get the soybeans and corn out that are still left in the fields. Okay, so let's turn our attention to South America as we wrap up this video. This map shows the total water storage in percent of average. This region was in drought a few months ago, but rains have returned, bringing values back up as planting continues in South America. Meanwhile, above average precipitation is falling in southern Brazil and in northern Argentina. This inlay graph shows the rainfall over the last 30 days is well above average, and reports of widespread flooding have plagued the planting efforts, especially in northern Argentina. Some reports suggest that numerous fields are having to be replanted. Now, just as a side note, if the La Niña were strong, this same area would likely be sliding into drought at this point in the year. So again, this just shows you how the weaker La Nina of 2016 is expected to have a small impact on the South American crops. Well, as always, we at Agrible will bring you the latest and best weather forecast information through our morning farm report so that you can efficiently plan your operations. We thank you for your attention and hope you look forward to our next weather video update. Thank you.